who's going off in fantasy this week? Drew Brees.
Brees with time.
You know, you guys are sleeping on Odell Beckham Jr., though. I think he's scoring 3 TDs this week.
And it throws it back across the middle.
No, tell me, the Bears' defense is what's going to go off this week. I mean, oh!
Chicago Bears.
Looking for these? You drive Buzzed. It could be one very expensive ride.
First, you gotta make bail. Then pay me to get your car back.
Your insurance premiums will go through the roof.
And my legal fees just keep adding up. All told, it could end up costing you $10,000.
Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
As an American, it's hard to hear that we have a serious hunger issue in our country. And as a parent, it's even harder to hear that 1 in 5 of our kids struggles with hunger, especially when billions of pounds of good food are wasted every year. Feeding America is a nationwide network of food banks that helps provide billions of meals to families in need right in your community. Visit feedingamerica.org to support Feeding America and your local food bank. Together we can solve hunger. Together, we're Feeding America.
Want to know all the latest Stains pop culture? Tune in to Let's Talk About It every other Monday at 10 p.m.
One of the biggest nights of the year is here. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Election Night 2018 here on WTOP 10. I'm Seth Prevratil.
And I'm Carrie Ryan. Tonight, we'll be updating you periodically throughout the broadcast with updates on local Oswego races, the District 24 congressional race, the gubernatorial race, and the New York Senate race, along with major national races as they come in.
We will also have live coverage from our reporter, Abby Buddicavoli, who will be interviewing students and faculty at the on-campus watch party. So, Carrie, voting. Did you vote today? I see you got the sticker there.
I did. I actually voted about last week, I think. I got my absentee ballot. So, did you do that as well?
I did. I actually ended up going home.
Oh.
Because I kept, you know, I was kind of putting it off a little bit, but when I went home, I went to because I'm from Albany County, so I went to the Albany County Board of Electives. And I filled out the absentee ballot there and just gave it to them there as well. And apparently I wasn't the only one with the same idea because there was a lot of people there.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, I just had my parents came up for Family and Friends weekend, and then I just sent it home with them instead because I thought it would just be easier.
Well, either way, you know, you and I, we both did our civic duty here today. We hope that you all did the same, and we thank you for joining us here this evening. As we said, we will be giving you live updates periodically throughout the show as they come in. Now, for many students, finding a place to vote is more than half the battle. Here on the Oswego State campus, one class has taken this issue and tried to combat it, closing the gap between students and ballots.
Vote Oswego is not only a campus organization, but a class that runs during major election years. One of the most important ideas stressed by the organization is the importance of voting. For many, midterms are a less prominent election. The midterm elections are held every 2 years when 1/3 of Senate seats and every House representative seat is up for election.
The organization is hoping to increase voter turnout on the SUNY Oswego campus. Now, Carrie, as we talked about before, this is a huge election for people. I mean, I know personally, I saw the word get around a lot this year. I got a lot of emails, especially from Vote Oswego when it came to voting and getting the word out. Going to class every single day, you had people sitting out there at their table, you know, telling us, make sure you register to vote.
Oh, definitely. And even social media, I always saw Snapchat, I was getting it. Twitter is always telling me, Facebook, I'm seeing it everywhere. I think everyone, not just, you know, politicians, just everyone just wants, like companies and everything, they just want you to vote and just have your voice be heard because this is super important. These votes are the ones that matter for in the next 2 years.
And you know, I mean, it's going to affect a lot of us. A lot of us are going to be you know, a lot of us are gonna be graduating college soon. We're gonna be out there in the real world. Yeah. I know they've made this specifically. I've just noticed this year. It's just there's been a lot of hype around Election Day this year.
Oh yeah.
And I know, especially like I'm an RA in Fennell, so it's one of our dorms here on campus here. And we have each RA on the floor is having an election viewing watch party. Oh, wow. Now, whether they're watching us, I'm not sure. But they're watching something out there to get some live updates on the elections this year. Yeah. So I know a lot of people were really, you know, they're big proponents of voting this year.
Definitely.
And as you said, Carrie, your voice does matter. So our reporter Jake Piacenti spent some time with Vote Oswego to find out just how they were trying to achieve their goal of increasing campus voting.
On Tuesday, October 30th, from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m., Vote Oswego held an absentee ballot party for students who signed up to vote. The event took place in room 133 of the Murano Campus Center. Decorated in red, white, and blue, they made sure students wouldn't miss it.
So basically, it's our absentee ballot party. We're having all the people that we registered on campus submit their absentee ballots to have their vote counted in the upcoming elections on November 6th.
Taken from VoteOswego.com, Vote Oswego is an organization that helps members of the Oswego community make an impact in all elections by stressing the importance of political participation, no matter the political affiliation, encouraging eligible voters to submit absentee ballots or go to the polls. Many students on campus don't vote because they do not know what an absentee ballot is.
So if you can't go home to vote, you can use an absentee ballot to vote wherever else you are, like any other part of the state.
In 2014, only 8.7% of students voted. They're expecting a lot higher numbers this year.
I haven't gotten all the numbers back yet, but they're definitely up almost double from where they were last midterm.
Mayor of Oswego, Billy Barlow, did an interview on WTOP's The Lakeside View and explains why young voters have such a big impact on our society.
We have the most to lose over time based on the policies and legislation being enacted and who is in office. And we need to get out there and make sure our voice is heard, because we're going to be here 30, 40, 50 years from now to see the impact and feel the impact on these decisions.
The election will take place November 6th. For more information on how to vote for the next election, visit vote411.org. From WTOP, I'm Jake Piacenti.
Throughout the course of the semester, Vote Oswego was able to register just about 830 students for the first time ever. Vote Oswego will end their campaigning tonight with the election watch party. So as was pointed out in that package right there, as we were talking about before, voting, a huge deal on campus this year.
Yes, definitely. And especially if you saw there that on one of my shows that Billy Barlow did come and speak to us. And it was just great to have an elected official talk to us, you know, about what's going on in not just the whole country itself, but just in this town, because the people in Oswego who vote, it helps the students here, even though we're not from here, it still affects us. So, you know, we love having him on and just telling us about that.
Yeah, and I also had the opportunity to sit down with him and talk to him as well. I know we're gonna show a little clip from that later on in the broadcast. But you know, him being a young mayor himself, just getting the word out there and letting people know that no matter how, I mean, if you are able to vote, you should get out there and make your voice heard, because he was a big proponent on this stuff is going to affect you, whether or not you think it does now. It will. It will. And he was a big proponent of that. And as Jake pointed out in that package there, Vote Oswego, the numbers were up this year. They anticipated a big turnout. Yeah. And I know walking through the campus center today, there were a lot of people.
There was a lot. I know throughout the weeks when they were doing absentee ballots and all those things, I mean, they were just jumping out. They were like, have you voted? Are you over 18? Did you do your absentee ballot? And that, you know, that got me, because I was like, I want to vote, but I don't know where to go.
It was almost overwhelming.
It was. They were like, here's a pin, and it made you excited. It made me excited personally to vote this year for sure.
And you know, a lot of people walking around today with those Vote Oswego or I voted stickers. Yeah. So you know, you got to be proud. You got to be proud of fulfilling your civic duty.
Yeah, definitely. And they're celebrating tonight for sure. Live from Oswego's Murano Campus Center, we have our reporter Abby Buttacavoli, who is standing by the Vote Oswego watch party. Abby, how's it going over there?
Thank you, Carrie. I'm actually here at the Vote Oswego party in room 211 in the Murano Campus Center. As you can see here behind me, there's around 40 people. They've got pizza, they've got snacks. They're playing games, they're sitting on the floor. In front of me, there's actually a screen where they're watching live the CNN results coming up. So I'm actually going to be talking to some professors, some students here at Vote Oswego, just to talk to them about what this election means to them, the midterm election, how big of a turnout they're having, and all of their results in their polling today. So back to you guys on the desk.
Thanks so much, Abby. We'll be checking in periodically as more votes come in and we start to see number trends. And we'll have plenty of more coverage when we return. Stay tuned. You're watching the WTOP 10 election coverage.
Hey, good morning, James.
James, wake up. It's Rise and Shine time. James, Rise and Shine. James, wake up. We're starting the show.
Good morning and welcome back to Rise and Shine at 9. I'm James Gattato here with your next update.
A boy born in Joplin, Missouri was fascinated by anything with wheels and a motor. The odds of him winning both the Daytona 500 and the Brickyard 400 in the same year? 1 in 195 million. The odds of a child being diagnosed with autism? 1 in 68. I'm Jamie McMurray, and my niece has autism. Learn more at autismspeaks.org/signs.
If you think trains will stop if they see a car on the tracks, you're right. They will. About a mile after they hit you. Stop. Trains can't.
And welcome back to our 2018 election night coverage. We will be giving you periodic updates throughout the night. And Carrie, we don't have any updates yet as of right now. But, you know, they're coming in. The polls closed in New York State about 40 minutes ago.
Yeah, so it's really too early to tell, definitely, for sure. But there has been some back and forths, not just in New York, but in other states. I know that in Florida, it's going back and forth between Democratic, Republicans. So you don't know until all the votes are counted.
Yeah, and there's over 30 governor seats up for grabs throughout the country as well.
That's really going to make a switch.
Yeah, there's a huge. This election has huge implications moving forward, not only in the House and the Senate, but for states as well. And I know New York State, obviously, most of us here, that affects all of us.
Yeah.
But as we said, we will have those updates for you as the show goes on. We just received word that Andrew Cuomo did win the election for New York State. It is now his third term in New York State as the governor of New York. So, Carrie, that's some big news right there.
That is. I mean, I know he was going to make a lot of changes on top of what he was already doing for these past 2 terms. So we'll hope that those changes pull through.
Yeah, and you know, he's focused a lot on like infrastructure. I know the Tappan Zee Bridge was just redone recently.
Yes.
He just redid the Syracuse Airport. So a lot of things that he is focused on. He's the 56th governor of New York. Just like his father, it is the 3rd term he is serving here as the New York governor. But the polls in New York State were open from 6 a.m. until recently closing at 9 p.m. Our WTOP 10 reporter Jake Vanderbrook spent some time earlier at the polls talking to residents of the city of Oswego about their thoughts and the issues that will influence their votes.
Later on tonight, there will be a winner in the 24th Congressional District between Republican John Katko and Democrat Dana Balters. Throughout the majority of the fall, both campaign ground games have been in attack mode. A lot of issues that are very important to the Oswego community, including job growth, environmental conservation, education, child welfare, and so on. However, the issue that hits everyone here is taxes.
We have had a couple of tax increases over the past year. This year, the town board's done really well. While there's a proposed slight tax increase in the general fund, I'm proud to say that the taxes for the highway department will be going down this year from last year's total.
Last December, President Donald Trump signed the tax cuts which aim to stabilize markets and drive job growth across the nation. This place knows that manufacturing jobs have been devastating due to outsourcing, and wages have failed to keep pace with inflation.
When our manufacturing jobs left, I mean, a lot of people in this area relied upon those, and it's very difficult. It's difficult for people in the area to get jobs. My own family are not here anymore. They've had to move where they have better employment. So it's sad. It would be nice to see our community come back to what it used to be.
No matter who is in office, Oswego residents all around hope that changes are made right away.
Well, regardless of who wins, we need more unity. We need more civil discussion. We need people talking together and trying to work things out rather than attacking each other. And regardless of who wins, I think that's the most important thing.
Oswego residents have been entering and leaving this door to cast their vote. We'll see what they say later tonight. Reporting just outside of the Oswego Town Hall, Jake Vanderbrook, WTOP.
And we'll have more coverage of voting results as they come in, but we would like to make a correction. Andrew Cuomo is projected to be to be New York governor once again. It has not been officially announced, and it will not be until about 10:30 p.m. Right now, he has 78.7% of the votes, just went up to 79. Mark Molinaro at 17.9%. So right now, it's not really a tight race.
It's not, and he was his, tightest competitor as of right now. And I mean, just with the votes, it's almost 700,000 votes ahead Cuomo is. So
yeah, I mean, definitely, he was down in New York City, and that's a big place. If you could get the people from New York City on your side,
if you can make it there, you can make it anywhere.
That's a lot of votes there. But for me, I'm from Albany personally. So, Andrew Cuomo, he's been there for 2 terms, as we mentioned before. So he gets elected again. This is his 3rd term. So not much is really going to change where I live.
Yeah, I mean, I'm from Long Island, so it's pretty similar how it's going to go. I'm hoping for, even more change, more with the taxes and everything like that. Just what he's doing, just keep it going.
Mm-hmm. Well, again, Andrew Cuomo, not officially announced as governor yet, but right now it is looking very favorable for him, and we will have the official results later on in the broadcast.
Voting in nearby Onondaga County is predicted to hit levels similar to that of the 2016 presidential election. Democratic Commissioner Dustin Zarni says he expects to see about a 65 to 70% voter turnout, which will rival the 2016 election, which had a 72% voter turnout.
To hear the voices that their message suits, and they don't really care what it means for the other side of the aisle or for minorities or for women or for whoever, any other group. So it's important that we come up and try to take back the system, in my view, and just stay honest and bring the issues that matter to the forefront and fight for what we believe in and what we want to see. I always bring up an interesting point is that young people who arguably over time have the most to lose. I'm going to be in Oswego until I'm 80 years old, right? So that's over 50 years from now. People who are 50, 60, 70 aren't going to be around that long to see some of the changes in policies and the effects and impacts they have. So young people who arguably have the most to lose sometimes are the least engaged, and we really need to change that trend, and I think it is slowly changing.
And that was Oswego Mayor Billy Barlow. I had a chance to sit down and interview him a couple weeks ago. And as we talked about before a little earlier in the show, he was a big proponent of younger voters getting out there and making their voices heard.
Definitely, I agree. When I spoke to him as well, he just, the importance of it, because I mean, like you said, he's a young mayor. He was at one point one of the youngest mayors in New York State. It's one thing to, go out and vote, but to be part of that political process, I think it's just inspiring, really.
Yeah,
him. So
elected at 25 years old just shows you, if you get involved in politics at a young age, sky's the limit for you.
you get to be on WTOP.
Get to be on WTOP, one of the big perks. But hopefully this election we're seeing more young people are getting out there to vote.
Speaking of which, we'll have plenty more of election night coverage, definitely as the governor race comes in for sure. So, and more with Abby Buttacavoli as well, who's at Vote Oswego's election party. So stick around, and you're watching Election Night, and we're going to go to Abby Buttacavoli at Vote Oswego election party.
Hi guys, I'm here with Allison Rank, professor in the political science department. Allison, how are you doing tonight?
Really well. It's been a really great campaign. We're really excited.
Awesome. So this party, who kind of came up with it?
So it's always great to have sort of just an election night results party. So the way we did it this year is we've invited folks from all across campus. The community services office helped pay for, we've got a ton of pizzas, a ton of snacks, and then one of our staffers actually helped to put the party on. And so then Vote Oswego's here. We've got a ton of our stuff, and a lot of our volunteers came out to just sort of be able to celebrate getting to the end of this campaign.
Right. And how many volunteers have you had this past year?
We don't have our total count yet, but it's looking like we're going to be close to 200 overall.
Wow, that is an incredible number. And with all of that help, how many people do you think you guys got to register to vote this year?
So we know that just with us, we had about 136 people register to vote and about another 1,200 request their absentee ballots. So we're hoping that turns out to be a pretty big voter turnout number, but we're going to have to wait and see.
And do you think this year is bigger than in years past?
I don't think it's going to be bigger than 2016, right? Presidential elections are always bigger, but in the 2014 midterm, only about 600 SUNY Oswego students voted at all. It was only 8.7% of the campus. So I'm feeling pretty confident between the number of students we saw at the campus center today. We've had over 250 absentee ballots directly turned into us at our absentee ballot parties for the stamps. And so we're feeling pretty confident that we're at least going to come close and hopefully surpass that 600.
That's fantastic. And for this party, how long is it going? What are you guys exactly doing here?
So we're doing a couple different things. So the plan is for it to run until midnight. I'm not sure how long people's stamina is really going to hold out on election night. But we've got the results watch up from CNN. There's a number of people. I've been sitting on the CNN exit polling data. We've got a number of people on 538 sort of keeping people updated about what data is coming in there. And then as you can see, we've got our nice big Connect 4. Every little bit you hear it thudding. We've got an election Jeopardy, and I think people are just enjoying the night.
Yeah, absolutely. Honestly, it seems like a great night. And guys, stay tuned. I will be interviewing a few more people that have attended the party. Back to you guys on the desk.
Thank you so much, Abby. We will have many more updates for you as the night goes on, and as they roll in, we will be getting those to you. You're watching our 2018 Election Night broadcast here on WTOP 10.
Say, President Stanley, whenever there's bad weather, who would you turn to?
I'd turn to Storm Team 10.
No, but you've got to say it like this. Storm Team 10. Say it with me. Storm Team 10.
Across America, excess food is gathered by a network of good people at local food banks, helping solve child hunger. They've earned their wings, and you can too. Support Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org.
Hart, what's going on? I'm leaving. Why? What did I do? Not enough. The pressure's too much. I quit. I get it. I can do better. Just please don't leave.
Don't let your heart quit on you. Get your uncontrolled high blood pressure to a healthy range before it's too late.
We taught him how to hit a baseball, how to hit a receiver, the strike zone, the net. You taught him how to hit the upper corner. You even taught him how to hit the open man. But how much much time have you spent teaching him what not to hit?
And welcome back to our WTOP 10 election night coverage here in 2018. We're starting to see some trends and numbers coming in as the polls are starting to close across the country. Before we take a closer look at some of these races, let's see how the election night is unfolding so far. So, Carrie, right now it looks like Marsha Blackburn has a pretty big lead in Tennessee for the U.S. Senate position. It's not official yet, but right now she has a pretty steady lead. It's looking like she might be the first female representative on the House from Tennessee.
I mean, that's great for, women in position. It's a change for that. Some people, I believe Taylor Swift wasn't for her, and she was very against having her in that position. But, it comes down to the voters, and that's what the voters voted so far. So we'll see as it goes on. Yeah, so right now she is the Republican candidate for Tennessee for the U.S. Senate. That race will be shaping up, so if we do hear official word on that, we will get that to you, as well as our local elections and our New York State elections as well, as we mentioned. There's nothing yet for our district, but as we said, we will get those updates to you as soon as they come in. So, Carrie, we heard before in Abby's interview that it was seen that a lot more people came out to vote on campus this year. Definitely. I mean, I can tell, just like I said earlier, about the hype of everything. People, want change, especially young people, you and my, like our age. It's crazy. So I'm not even surprised at the number of how many people are there, let alone how many people actually sent in the absentee ballots and went out and voted this year. Yeah, she mentioned it was a small percentage that voted. It was 18.7% of Oswego campus who voted in the last election. So obviously they've seen a trend in that this year. And she talked about how the presidential election, obviously that's going to be, this is going to be something that's going to be focused more on, especially by students as well. But yeah, she was talking about how the midterm elections play maybe not as much of an importance, but definitely it's up there with how important that it is. I agree. I mean, like I said, these votes are the ones that matter. When it comes to presidential election, that's electoral college. And those electoral college members they're the ones that we vote in this time. So I mean, this is really setting up for the next election for sure. Well, as we mentioned before, we are going to throw it over to Abby Buttacavoli, who is standing by for another interview.
Hi, Seth. Yep, I'm here with student Scott Adams. He is here at the Vote Oswego party with a few other members of his class. Hi, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing pretty good, man. It's the end of the campaign.
Absolutely. So how did you get involved in Vote Oswego?
Okay, so I found out about this class last semester, actually, because my professor, Dr. Rank, she pretty much let us know, because I take a lot of political science classes with her.
Awesome. So you mentioned something earlier about maybe being a part of a campaign. Can you explain to me what that is a little bit?
Okay, so inside the campaign, I'm taking the class. That means there's an expectation for me to reach a certain number of hours, and because of that, I have to do a bunch of other things, such as phone banking, tabling, etc. Some things you have to do off campus as well, because I'm not an on-campus student. And
So how many people do you think you signed up for an absentee ballot this year?
Personally, quite a few. I live off campus in an apartment complex. I had to go door to door, knock on everyone's door, a bunch of townhouses, and get them to register to vote. So quite a few probably.
That's awesome. And how has this experience been for you this year?
Honestly, it's been pretty interesting. I had to do a lot of stuff I never thought I'd be doing necessarily, and I'm happy with it.
And what are you looking forward to at tonight's election night party?
Looking forward to people being excited for democracy, honestly. That's all I can say.
Awesome. So thank you, Scott, for talking to us. I will throw it back to the desk. Hopefully we're getting a little bit more information as the night comes along, but I will be here and possibly at another location. Back to you guys on the desk.
Thank you, Abby. One of the most talked about races this November is for Congress. For New York's 24th District, which follows the bank of Lake Ontario, covering just a few miles east of Oswego all the way to Webster and stretches almost as far as Cortland. This is the biggest in the district. The biggest city in the district is Syracuse.
The district will decide tonight its new representative, either the current sitting Republican John Katko or Democrat Dana Balter. Both candidates are running on about 15 key issues that matter to most voters. For Katko, he is running for lower taxes, responsible government spending, and reforming tax regulations. Another issue close to the Oswego community is stopping the importation and sale of synthetic drugs and cracking down on foreign drug rings.
Democratic candidate Dana Balter is campaigning for a reduction of emissions by instituting a carbon tax, which will help to invest in renewable energy solutions. Balter also wants to negotiate and lower drug prices to give all Americans the medical help they need. A few weeks back, Dana Balter, the Democratic candidate for Oswego and New York's 24th District, stopped by to speak to students. Candidate Dana Balter stopped by campus last week to speak to students in a town hall meeting.
I want to make sure that those very simple but very important ideas are at the heart of the laws and the policies that we create. That's why I want to go to Washington. And a couple of the things that are at the top of my list that I want to work for. Number one is healthcare. I want to make sure that every single person in our country, every single person in our community can see a doctor when they need to. We have to do to fight back against this notion that there is no such thing as truth, or that you and I are entitled to operate off of a different set of facts, right? We have to just say no to that. We have to stand up and speak the truth.
Student Association President Omar Van Reenen says the turnout for this town hall exceeded almost all others. Balter speaks about the importance of integrity when it comes to serving as an elected official.
If we take this opportunity to elect into office enough people with integrity, and particularly people who are committed to getting money out of politics, we can really start to curb some of the awfulness that we have allowed to take over our political system.
We also reached out to Republican candidate John Katko, but have not heard back.
So Carrie, I know you put together that package there. Dana Balter was here a couple weeks ago. What kind of impact do you think that had on the students here that came to see her speak?
I mean, I think it was definitely important for students to see the candidates that are going to be, if you live in Oswego, because a lot of students here do live in Oswego County. So it's good to see someone that is running for that position and, seeing them in person, not just seeing the ads and all of that's on, TV and through that. It's just to see someone, talk to them, meet them, and then for yourself you decide, is this person that I want to represent me? Yeah, it definitely helps to get that perspective from the candidate themselves. I know it looked like there was a lot of students in attendance there. I personally was not there, but it did look like from that shot that there was a good amount of people that showed up. Definitely, for sure. It was almost packed. It was great to see, for sure. Well, we will have many more updates for you coming up after the break and periodically throughout the night. Once again, you're watching our election night coverage here on WTOP 10. We'll be right back.
Everybody can make something, because I think everyone has a spark of creativity, and the reason that I have to keep making is because I don't think my life would be as fulfilling without it. If you make things yourself, that means you're not cowering in fear. You're out there taking chances. That, I think, is my way of saying I love you to the world. All right, now I want to hear why you make.
Share your own Why I Make story today. Visit whyimake.org.
Of all the things you've done with your bike, donating it to Goodwill may be the most incredible of all. Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs.
My new dad teaches me all kinds of stuff.
I wouldn't use this one.
He helps me with my decision making.
Ever.
And he's even teaching me how to drive.
And that's why cars have bumpers.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of kids in foster care will take you just as you are.
And then she was like, yeah, and I was like, no. And then she was like, yeah, and I was like, yeah.
Oh my God.
Oh my God, what? Ryan just texted me. Oh my god, what did he say? Netflix and chill? Netflix and chill, that's like so last year. It's all about WTOP movies on demand and chill. You are so right.
Yo, bro, what's wrong?
Yo, bro, my girl left me, bro.
But why?
Because I don't watch WTOP 10 movies on demand.
And welcome back to our WTOP 10 election night coverage. We just got a new update. Carrie, what do we have?
So it's projected that Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez will be projected to win the 14th congressional district. And I mean, that is a huge thing. Right now she's 77.8% as of right now as well. In our district, we also are getting numbers as well for that. But when we get those exact numbers, we'll reach out to you for that. But so Keko is right now at 57.9. Balter is 42.1. So it's really tight right now.
Yeah.
That we can't project.
Yeah, it's looking like it is going to be a pretty tight race there. And I know you mentioned Cortez. She's set to become the youngest member of the 14th congressional district to go on to serve on Congress. But yes, we were talking about how that race is looking pretty tight. So, you know, I mean, a lot, like we mentioned, the polls closed not too long ago, so those results are going to keep coming in. And hopefully as the show comes on, we will have a little bit more clarity for you.
Yes, for sure.
But current New York State Governor Democrat Andrew Cuomo is also up for re-election. Cuomo has been the governor since 2011, and he is running to protect the New York economy and get rid of full state and local tax deductibility. Cuomo is also taking an intense approach to the opioid epidemic by making access easier to life-saving treatment, naloxone.
The major candidate up against Cuomo is Mark Molinaro, a Republican candidate running to cut New Yorkers' property taxes and capping state taxes to stopping them from increasing. He's also looking to have the state take over Medicare costs.
And from the production room, let's get some live updates on where the candidates are as the polls have been closed for over an hour. We'll go live to Abby, who's got someone else.
Hello, everyone. I'm here back at the Vote Oswego party. We're going to take a quick walk and see what's going on here at the party, so follow me. So here we've got a nice tic-tac-toe board. It's looking great. People have been playing this game all night. There are balloons all over the floor. Everybody's having a great time. There are around 30 people here, and honestly, it's just a great time. Everyone's watching the CNN feed. We're going to keep taking a walk and see what they've got over here. There's snacks, there's pizza. It's honestly enticing me so much. I kind of want to grab a slice myself. We've got a bunch of people hanging out. You can see the whole crowd over here. Everyone's looking forward to the race. I've just heard that we are getting numbers for Balter Catgo. That stuff is being updated as we speak. So everyone stay tuned. Keep listening to our WTOP feed. We are going to be getting numbers around 10:30, our official numbers. So stay tuned. Back to you on the desk.
Thank you, Abby. And it still looks like a decent amount of people are there and, you know, waiting to see the final results and what's going to come out of that.
Yeah, I know. Abby was interviewing Professor Allison Rank a little bit earlier, and she said they're going to try and keep it going till about midnight tonight. So we'll see how long they can get that to last.
Definitely on a school night, it's going to be a bit difficult.
So we have a 95% chance of the Democrats winning the House, I believe.
Yeah, we're just getting that in right now from the production room.
Yeah, so again, we're going to have many more updates for you. And when we get a little bit more clarity on those results, we will talk more about it and get the information to you as the night goes on.
We're going to take a break right now, but when we come back, more results of the election 2018.
I'm Anthony Citron, and for one view a day, you can help producers at WTOP get the recognition they deserve for their work. For just 30 minutes a day, you can help these students make sure their work does not go unnoticed. Please, click the link below and help these students get the recognition they deserve. All it takes is one view a day.
Why is my son having trouble in school?
Finding lowest airfare to Istanbul.
No, I'm tired of fighting with my son over his homework.
Home, walk, restaurant. Need a review?
No. He's smart, but his mind wanders.
7 wonders of the world.
Why don't you understand me?
I do. I was trying to show how Connor feels every day. Redirecting to understood.org.
Join parents and experts at understood.org, a free online resource about learning and attention issues to help your child thrive.
Hey there, I'm Al Roker, class of 76. Yes, way back in 76. Back when the Earth was cooling. You're watching WTOP.
And welcome back to our 2018 election night coverage here on WTOP 10. And as Carrie and I mentioned before, the governor race between Andrew Cuomo and Mark Molinaro. Right now, Cuomo's at 70.5% of the votes, while Molinaro is at 26.3%. So it's still a giant gap for Cuomo.
Definitely.
But, Mark Molinaro he gained a few more votes since the last time we gave the update.
Yeah, and I mean, for Andrew Cuomo being 2 terms, everyone knows Andrew Cuomo, that's a decent hit to him. I mean, he has over 1 million votes as of right now in his favor, Cuomo. But
and New Yorkers are very familiar with the Cuomos as well. As we mentioned earlier in the show, his father did serve 3 years as New York's governor. So it's not necessarily, I wouldn't say it's necessarily surprising the way that the vote is going right now. I mean, maybe it is a little shocking to see the gap that Cuomo does have, because a couple days ago it was projected to be a little bit closer. But as of right now, Cuomo looks like he has a pretty steady, pretty solid lead going on in the governor race. And we also have some updates on the House and the Senate as well. So, Carrie, what do you have?
Yes, as of right now, the House of Representatives, the seats, there is 199 out of the 435 seats declared, with 108 of those seats to Republicans, 91 to Democrat, and 0 to the other parties.
Yeah, so we're almost halfway there, filled in the House, and right now it is a really tight race. So we'll be keeping a close eye on that throughout the broadcast. Meanwhile, in the Senate, there are 86 of the 100 seats that are declared, and right now the Republican Party has 47, Democrats have 38, and 1 to the other parties. So far, it's a really tight race both ways.
Yeah, and I mean, let's see how everyone in the Vote Oswego election party is doing. Javi, how is it going over there?
Hi guys, I'm here back with another student from Vote Oswego, Connor Douglas. How are you doing tonight, Connor?
I'm doing fantastic.
Awesome. So what is your involvement here with Vote Oswego?
So I do all the phone banks for the Get Out to Vote, so I've been calling with, as well as other students, throughout the last couple of days to try to get people to do their absentee ballots and also just vote here at the local polls.
Awesome. So how long have you been involved with Vote Oswego?
So I've been involved pretty much since the beginning in August, and it's been a long struggle, but we've been able to successfully get over 2,000 people to vote.
And that is a fantastic number. Yeah. What does that mean to you to get that many people?
It's great, especially for a generation like the millennial generation, where we're known for not really voting, and I think it's great for our future.
Yeah, and do you think you've seen more millennials maybe take that leap and actually vote, since our population doesn't really always do that?
Yeah, I think definitely a lot of people have started to vote, especially since the 2016 election. I think that has gotten a lot more youth voters to come out and turn out, seeing that there wasn't a high turnout previously.
And what do you think voting means to people in our generation specifically, since we are going to be that next generation to take over?
So right now we actually are the highest voting population, but you know, if we don't vote, then we can't make changes within our government. So try to get more young people to actually get involved in politics. So.
Absolutely. And I think it's really important that you guys are doing this, and thank you so much for talking to me. Thank you guys. I'm actually going to be joining you guys on the desk pretty soon, so back to you guys. I'll see you in a little bit.
Thank you, Abby. And as she said, she will be joining us in a few moments.
So as we mentioned before, we have some tight races going on in the House and the Senate right now. The Republicans have a slight lead in both of them. But we'll have more updates for you coming up after the break. Once again, you are watching our 2018 election night coverage here on WTOP 10.
Everybody can make something, because I think everyone has a spark of creativity, and the reason that I have to keep making is because I don't think my life would be as fulfilling without it. If you make things yourself, that means you're not cowering in fear. You're out there taking chances. That, I think, is my way of saying I love you to the world. All right, now I want to hear why you make.
Share your own Why I Make story today. Visit whyimake.org.
Of all the things you've done with your bike, donating it to Goodwill may be the most incredible of all. Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs.
My new dad teaches me all kinds of stuff.
I wouldn't use this one.
He helps me with my decision making.
Never.
And he's even teaching me how to drive.
And that's why cars have bumpers. You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of kids in foster care will take you just as you are.
And then she was like, yeah, and I was like, no. And then she was like, yeah, and I was like, yeah.
Oh my God.
Oh my God, what?
Ryan just texted me.
Oh my God, what did he say?
Netflix and chill?
Netflix and chill, that's like so last year. It's all about WTOP movies on demand and chill.
You are so right.
Yo, bro, what's wrong?
Yo, bro, my girl left me, bro.
But why?
Because I don't watch
WTOP 10 movies on demand.
And welcome back to our WTOP 10 election night coverage. As you can see, our reporter Abby Buddicavoli has joined us at the desk. Abby, there was a lot of action going on over there.
There was. I literally just ran from the polling place. I am here. I am on the desk. It was such a fun time. Honestly, there was a really decent turnout. They had pizza. They had snacks. Everyone was playing games. Spirits were high. It was a really great atmosphere.
Looks like a good opportunity for people there. I'm kind of in the mood for pizza right now, but we do have to finish this broadcast, and we do have to give you those updates.
I did get a bite while I was there. It was fantastic.
You probably shouldn't have said that,
I
because
know.
now I'm craving pizza even more. But anyway, back to the updates. The Senate race, as we said, it is pretty tight right now. The Republicans do have 47 of the seats right now. Democratic Party has 38. So we'll be keeping an eye on that as we move forward in the broadcast.
Yes, and it is the second major race on the ballot for the New Yorkers this year, with the race between Democrat Kristen Gillibrand and Republican Shel Farley.
Gillibrand is running on the promise of high quality and affordable health care for all. She also is fighting for stronger labor unions and increasing the minimum wage to minimize poverty.
Her competition, Republican Farley, is running on the premise of defeating the overprescribing opioids.
And right now, it's not a very tight race. Kirsten Gillibrand, she's been serving as the senator in New York since 2009. She has 80% of the votes so far, while Farley only has 20%. Gillibrand, over 1 million votes. Right now, Farley's just over 300,000 votes. Again, we still got a long way to go, but it's not looking too promising for Farley right now.
Yeah, it's definitely larger of a gap from the governor, for sure. And I mean, Shel Farley, she had high hopes that this was going to be pretty tight, and a lot of people thought that this was going to be a very tight race. But as we're looking right now, it doesn't look that way.
May not look tight in New York State, but as we mentioned before, nationally, the Senate race is looking pretty tight right now. And Abby, I know you were talking to a few people over at the watch party. What were kind of the impressions that you got from them with these races?
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone's were kind of mixed. Some people actually couldn't give me their exact opinions on what they thought, just because vote Oswego, they didn't want to be too biased.
Right.
But a lot of people were hopeful that certain things were going to go in their favor, depending on their side that they leaned on. But certain races were definitely tighter than others. They were kind of bummed because we weren't getting as much information from the CNN live feed as they wished. But yeah, that was kind of where we were. They were kind of just waiting for all of those numbers to come in as well.
Yeah, and I remember, you know, the frustration. Sometimes you can be up real late with these elections. I remember in 2016.
Yep.
During the I stayed up that entire time, you know, and it was like 4 a.m. by the time I ended up going to bed.
Yeah, I remember waking up my parents and I'm like, hey, this is that.
Yes.
And I'm like, that was a crazy one. I mean, this is just as big, if not actually bigger. I mean, just you saw from the students there and us, we were saying earlier about just the student turnout in general, just all over campus. It was just crazy.
And I think, honestly, across the country, we've seen things on social media. We've seen people who have really created social movements that have gotten a lot of youth voters to go out to the polls. I think more than in a lot of years. Obviously, the presidential election is a big one, and they did touch on that at the Vote Oswego party. But I think from that election, so much more has changed with the fact that we now know that our generation is one of the biggest voter populations, and we really can make a difference. So.
Yeah, and it's just a matter of, you know, getting out there and doing your part and voting. You know, getting one of these stickers. We all have one on right now. We hope most of you have them as well. But yeah, I mean, Abby, you said it best. I mean, these are the elections that matter the most, especially moving forward. You know, and as we get older, we graduate college, we start to, you know, pay attention a little bit more to these things. Our viewpoints maybe start to change a little bit, you know, depending on the situation, depending on like our jobs, what we're doing. So it was great to see so many people that were so enthusiastic about voting this year. And you mentioned social media played a huge part in that.
Oh, definitely. And celebrities themselves. I mean, from Kanye West, as we all know, and like I said earlier, Taylor Swift had a huge impact, Billy Eichner had a huge impact. And I think that, you know, a lot of people, like we said, are on social media these days, and that's where celebrities go to talk directly to, you know, their fans and people that follow them. So them using their voices, which sometimes, for the most part, is bigger than politicians, it's, you know, it makes the difference there for sure.
They're our influencers. They're the people that we really look up to and look to. And I think a lot more than in years past, a lot of them have been showing their political views, and which is very different on social media, which is something we didn't even have a few years ago.
Yeah.
But I think that kind of, it's very interesting. I think the whole political climate is very interesting, and I think with the election that is happening currently, a lot can change. I mean, within the Senate and within the House, things were a certain way, and after tonight, I guess we'll see.
Yeah, we're definitely going to see a mix-up, I believe, of not, you know, just not the general type of people that are in these positions. We have a lot of people of color, a lot more women are being represented now, and I think that that's also a huge change because people are deciding now today that, you know, they want someone that's going to represent them, and people that look like them and agree with them, that's who they want to see, you know, making these choices for them.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot that goes into this. I mean, we talked about before how Dana Balter came to campus to speak directly to the students as well. I mean, stuff like that has such a big impact. And now you have all these politicians that are on social media that are getting the word out there, whether you're Republican, Democrat, you're independent. I mean, it's just there's so many outlets to get your information now. And we've seen the effects of that this year. But again, we will have some more updates for you coming up after the break. Once again, you are listening or you are watching the WTOP 10 Election Night broadcast. We'll be right back.
And then she was like, yeah, and I was like, no. And then she was like, yeah, and I was like, yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh my god, what?
Ryan just texted me.
Oh my god, what did he say?
Netflix and chill?
Netflix and chill, that's like so last year. It's all about WTOP movies on demand and chill.
You are so right.
Yo, bro, what's wrong?
Yo, bro, my girl left
But why?
Because I don't watch WTOP 10 movies on demand.
This new dad is picturing a tree house in the sky, but he's ignoring the instructions. Good luck, big guy. His kids know that he's building without a clue. Never been so good with nails and glue. Now we're trapped inside a box. I hope mom knows what to do. Mom! See, you don't have to be perfect to be the perfect parent.
Thousands of siblings in foster care will take you just as you are.
Hey, it's Ava, and this is Tess from Do Your Selfie, where we recreate the hottest looks from today's biggest music videos.
After cleaning out our closet, we have a lot of clothes we don't wear anymore.
Like this old pile of t-shirts.
It's not garbage, it's actually a new rug.
And to make it, all you need to do is cut, tie, and glue.
Cut the t-shirt into strips.
Tie the strips into knots.
And glue the knots to the bath mat. I love it. Give your garbage another life.
And recycle.
And welcome back to our WTOP 10 election night broadcast. A big night, a big election for many of us here in Oswego County and around the campus. So, Carrie, what updates do we have so far?
I mean, we see from Vermont, Bernie Sanders, who has been in that position. He's won as an independent, which is, something you don't normally hear. You either hear Republican or Democrat. So seeing Vermont has gone, to independent, that's just a huge thing. He's winning 66.2%. So he is projected to win. And I mean,
yeah, right now it doesn't look close for that matter.
Yeah, I mean, I see a lot of people that actually are in Vermont do run as independent, and his closest was a Republican, Lawrence Uppin. I don't even see any Democrats running in that, because I believe he usually, he does himself run as Democrat, when he was running for president against Hillary Clinton.
Right.
In 2016, he was running as a Democrat, so now he's gone back to independent.
Yeah, and then looking a little bit more at the Senate race here, 87 of the 100 seats have been declared so far. The Republicans control 48 of them, the Democratic Party 38. So again, another tight race, but right now the Republicans do have a pretty steady lead.
Yeah, and I mean, in the House, the seats are almost, halfway filled at a 219 out of 435. The Republicans are at 116 right now, with Democrat at 103. So, I mean, it's 26.7% to 23.7, and they're only halfway through. So that's very tight. So we're going to see how that flips this time.
Yeah, and right now, speaking of the Senate, we do have Kirsten Gillibrand. She is still holding a steady lead. 76.8% of the votes so far going toward her, while Shel Farley has 23.2. So again, looks like Gillibrand is on track to once again serve as the senator where she has been since 2009.
And I mean, it looks also as well that Andrew Cuomo is still projected to be governor. His percentage has gone down a little bit, but it's still 67.3% of the votes to Mark Molinaro's 29.1. So, I mean, it's just showing though that those late votes that come in, this is a little bit of a hike difference, but the votes matter at the end. So they always say if you're in line waiting to vote and it's 9 p.m., they have to let you stay and vote. So 9 o'clock doesn't mean anything. 10 o'clock doesn't mean anything. It goes all night until the last vote.
Definitely a lot more votes to be calculated here. Switching over, not until midnight we will have a full idea of the results, but switching over to the House of Representatives, looks like 219 out of the 435 seats are filled so far, 116 going toward Republicans, 103 to the Democrats. So another tight race there, another one to keep an eye on as the night goes on. But Abby, as we talked about before, you had a lot of people that you were speaking to over at the campus watch party. What else can you tell us about what's going on there?
I mean, it was a lot of people who were involved in a class. So there's like a kind of a Vote Oswego class where they all get involved, and it's actually an earlier process than most classes. They start in August, just like we all do, but their process starts campaigning. So they started on a campaign, and some people were going door to door, some people were making phone calls. Some people were just, doing all of those things. They were tabling in the campus center. They were doing all of the things to the preliminaries to get everyone excited about voting. And I know everyone's seen those Vote Oswego t-shirts, and that's been really exciting. But really just a lot of work. It's another organization just like everything else. So a big thing that they really talked about was making a goal about how many people they actually got registered to vote. And a lot of college students obviously need absentee ballots because not all of us are from Oswego County. So that was really awesome. They got a ton of people to sign up, in the thousands, in the 2000s. So that was really great. They said they hadn't really seen those numbers since the 2016 election. So that was fantastic. They were all really excited about that. And there were some people at the view party that weren't even from Vote Oswego, just students that kind of wanted to see how things turned out. And they were watching the CNN feed, and everyone was just really enjoying everything. So yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah,
it was a great time.
That sounds awesome. And I mean, we just got word right now that it looks like the GOP is going to keep the Senate. But like we said, we're not going to know until those final votes are in.
Yeah, right now that is the projection. But again, keep a close eye on that throughout the night. We're not going to have official results of that moving forward. But again, going back to Andrew Cuomo and Kirsten Gillibrand, they're still both holding pretty steady leads right now for New York State. And again, we were mentioning before how this is going to this really impacts the voters in New York State. I know, Carrie, you talked about before the Electoral College is a big factor in the presidential election. Here, in this particular case, New Yorkers can maybe feel as though they make their voices heard.
I definitely think so, because what I've been saying this whole night, and I'm going to say it one more time for everyone, it's just that it's so important to vote, because who we elect here will then represent us. So if you didn't like how you were represented in 2016 and you don't want that person, you make your voice heard, you vote out, you put yourself in the race if you feel that that's something you want to do, because this is up for anyone. This is the United States of America, and anyone can have their voice heard, I believe.
And as we mentioned before, we all have our stickers on here, made our voices heard in New York State. Abby, I'm assuming you sent in an absentee ballot. Did you mail it or did you actually go to your Board of Electors?
So I mailed mine. My Board of Electors is back in Albany. So the drive was just a little bit too long, but I did mail mine in. And I think it's really important for all of us college students who may think that process is a little bit annoying and a little bit tumultuous, that they should really do it, because our votes still matter, even back in our hometown.
And again, just looking at some of the New York races so far, just to give you another update, we have, again, Kirsten Gillibrand has a pretty steady lead going in the race for the senator. And then we have Andrew Cuomo once again. His lead now is at 66.1%. Molinaro is now at 30.2%. So he has cracked 30% so far. So starting to climb a little bit. Again, not looking too promising for him, but as the results come in, there'll be more updates for you as we move forward.
And I mean, something that really is close is this district's election. Dana Balter's right now at 45.9, which is a 3% increase from before. So again, those last votes matter. And it doesn't even say that it's projected win. It's really tight between her and Katko, who's at 54. So
yeah, looks like a photo finish going on there in the race for the House. But again, the Republicans are going to have control of the Senate. It's projected to be that way. We just received word. So another thing to keep your eye on there. It's a tight race, but again, the Republicans look like they have that one. And then switching back over to the House, right now it's looking like it's a pretty close race, almost neck and neck. So we're approaching that halfway point of the votes in the House.
Yeah, and I mean, it's crazy. And I mean, just moving just for a second away from New York is just to the Senate elections. One of the big ones that I heard from New York is in Texas, Ted Cruz and Beto O'Rourke. That was a huge thing. And I mean, right now, Ted Cruz is projected to win at 51.1, but 48.3% for a new person just jumping in there, that's huge, especially for Texas, who's always been a red state. So, I mean, them getting the Republicans getting the Senate, it was projected, but I mean, it's a tight race that we're having this year.
Yeah, we just received word that the Democrats do have a slight lead in the House so far. Again, still a long way to go, but this is going to be a close race to keep an eye on throughout the night.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely for sure. I mean, the 229 out of 435 seats. I mean, 435 people that are going to be put in there. That's huge. And so we're only halfway through. It's such a close race. I mean, for the House, I don't know. It's projected to be going, flipping to blue, the blue wave that everyone's been talking about this whole time. Yep. So, I mean, it's crazy.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and we'll see what happens, definitely. But the people that are at the watch party, we saw there still is a good amount of people there. So, I mean, it's not looking like it's going to be a boring night for them if they stick around.
No one's going to get kicked out of the room.
Nope, they're staying for the food. They're staying for all of the activities, and I think it'll be a really great opportunity to really be with your classmates and see the results of the election.
And just to look at things one more time before we wrap things up here on our broadcast, once again, we have a tight race